The Vex had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. Their sleek, obsidian ships moved between star systems like sharks through dark waters, leaving only devastation in their wake. Entire civilizations fell before them, proud species with histories spanning millennia reduced to footnotes in the cruel ledger of cosmic history. No one knew where they had come from. Some believed they were an ancient race that had evolved beyond morality. Others whispered they were the creations of a long-dead civilization, automated weapons that had outlived their creators and continued their programmed extinction protocols without purpose or restraint. Admiral Tom Hayes stared at the holographic display showing the latest Vex advance, another 3 systems lost in the past month, another billion sentient beings either dead or enslaved. They've broken through the Orion defensive line, said Lisa, his second in command. Her voice remained steady, but her eyes betrayed the fear they all felt. The Centauri Alliance has fallen, or next. Earth had managed to avoid direct confrontation with the Vex thus far. Humanity had expanded cautiously into nearby star systems over the past 2 centuries, establishing colonies and making tentative diplomatic connections with other species. They were newcomers to the galactic stage, their interstellar civilization barely 300 years old, while other species measured their cosmic presence in thousands or tens of thousands of years. Perhaps that's why the ancient records had come to them. The message, encrypted in a mathematical language that had taken Earth's best minds decades to decipher, had arrived from a civilization that called themselves the predecessors. They had fought the Vex long ago and lost, but not before hiding their greatest weapon. Project Titan is ready, said Dr. Marcus Reed, entering the command center. The scientist looked like he hadn't slept in days, which was probably true. The excavation team on Mars finished integrating the predecessor tech with our systems. Admiral Hayes nodded grimly. And you're certain it will work? Nothing is certain, Reed replied, but the simulations are promising. The predecessor data was remarkably thorough, considering it's millions of years old. They knew what they were doing. Unlike us, muttered Lisa. Hayes couldn't disagree. Humanity was taking an enormous risk. The Titan was a weapon of last resort, one the predecessors themselves had been afraid to use. But humanity had no choice. The Vex would reach Sol within weeks. Activate it, Hayes ordered. The command center fell silent. Reed approached the central console and placed his palm on the scanner. A series of confirmation codes later, a simple message appeared on all screens. Titan awakening initiated. Deep beneath the Martian surface, in a chamber older than human civilization, something stirred. Ancient machinery hummed to life, power flowing through circuits that had lain dormant for millions of years. The human engineers who had discovered the facility had never truly understood what they were dealing with. They had integrated their technology with the alien systems as best they could, following the predecessor instructions, but they were like children playing with the discarded tools of gods. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Hours passed. The command center remained on high alert, but anxiety began to creep in. Had they failed? Had they misinterpreted the ancient message? Then the reports began coming in. Vex ships on the edge of the solar system were changing course, breaking off their advance. More reports followed. Vex fleets throughout the galaxy were withdrawing from combat, regrouping. They're scared, Lisa whispered. They recognize what we've activated. Before Hayes could respond, the entire command center shook. Warning alarms blared. On Mars, the ground was splitting open as something massive emerged from below. A Titan rose from its long slumber, not a weapon as humans had assumed, but a being. A sentinel created by the predecessors to counter the Vex. It stood taller than mountains, its form both mechanical and organic, composed of materials unknown to human science. Across its surface, symbols and patterns shifted and changed, telling stories of ancient battles and forgotten victories. As the Titan fully awakened, something unexpected happened. It reached out, not physically but mentally, connecting with every human mind in the solar system. In that moment of contact, knowledge transferred. The predecessors had designed the Titan to bond with a worthy species, to share its power, rather than merely serve as a weapon. The Vex recognized the threat immediately. Their entire fleet converged on Sol, thousands of warships against one ancient guardian. The battle that followed defied description. The Titan moved between planets with impossible speed, its weapons tearing through Vex ships like paper. It didn't fight alone. Through its connection with humanity, it coordinated Earth's defenses, guiding human ships and weapons with perfect tactical precision. When the battle ended 3 days later, the Vex fleet was in ruins. For the first time in recorded history, the terror of the galaxy had been dealt a decisive defeat. But the war was far from over. Through their connection with the Titan, humans learned the truth. The Vex were not conquerors, but harvesters, collectors of biological and technological diversity, consuming civilizations to fuel their own evolution. They would return, stronger and adapted to the Titan's capabilities. In the aftermath, Admiral Hayes stood on the observation deck of his flagship, watching as the Titan orbited Earth. The massive being had reduced its size somewhat, but remained larger than any human construction. Through their mental link, Hayes understood what needed to happen next. The predecessors created the Titan as a guardian, he explained to the gathered military and political leaders. They always intended for it to have a partner species. They seeded the galaxy with the knowledge of how to awaken it, hoping a worthy civilization would eventually find it. "And that's us?" asked the president, skeptical. "We're hardly the most advanced species in the galaxy." "The Titan doesn't require technological advancement," Hayes replied. "It needs adaptability, creativity, resilience, qualities humans have in abundance. The predecessors believed these traits, more than any technology, would be needed to finally defeat the Vex." As the leaders debated, Hayes looked back at the Titan. Humanity had unexpectedly found itself at the center of a war as old as the galaxy itself. They had awakened the Titan, but in doing so, they had also awakened to their place in the cosmos. The terrorizing of the galaxy was far from over, but for the first time in eons, there was hope.